to have a conversation, basically.
And I feel like that changed my view and perception on what a woman is supposed to be.
In 2 years, I don't know how things are gonna evolve.
Embracing the power of knowledge that I've acquired.
Loving your body and appreciating it.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation with my parents about what it's like to be a man.
Hello, my name is Ella, and this is my podcast, Spectrum, my mastery project. So, for this project, I was investigating the driving question, how can I create and digitally market a podcast which uses personal stories to educate about generational understanding of gender identity? So this is a topic that I have been really interested in and passionate about for quite a while now, and it kind of evolved throughout my time at TGS. I've done several projects relating to this through different things, and it kind of accumulated in this mastery project, which started with a conversation with my grandmother about what being a woman meant to her and her experience growing up as a woman in a family full of boys, and finishing that conversation and thinking, man, I really wish I had recorded that. And then it kind of evolved into this podcast. So for this project, I was looking at 4 different aspects. First, gender studies, of course, what is gender? And that was kind of the main point of my project. But then after that, journalism, how do I interview people? Podcasting, once I have these interviews, how do I pull it together into a final podcast that can be shared with the world? And then marketing. Once I have this podcast, how do I make sure people can hear it and that it can be shared with the world? So throughout this project, I was able to interview a bunch of different people who are my classmates, people who are standing in this room today or sitting in this room, people who I know from home, and people such as Shai, who I was able to meet throughout our terms in TGS, people who I was able to interview either in person or virtually through the time of COVID. And for each of these interviews, it's something that I really, really have found that I love doing. I begin each interview with the same question, and from there it evolves to explore all kinds of different things depending on whatever that person wants to talk about, whether that's their experience with self-expression, their experience growing up, the languages they speak, the clothing they wear, the things they enjoy doing, what it means, what their identity is, who they have relationships with, all of these things, and then, of course, how that relates back to their gender. And this is something that I have absolutely loved so much and is my project that I am most passionate about and most proud of in my time at TGS, and it is a project that I will be continuing after TGS as well. I will be continuing this through college. I have a bunch of interviews that are going to be published in the next few weeks and months, and I really am so excited to share it with the world because it's something that I love, and I have made connections with people, whether that's classmates that I wouldn't have spoken to otherwise, or at least not spoken to in this way otherwise, whether that's people that I would not have met, or even people that I knew already super well and then was able to connect with them in a completely different way through the conversations we had. So it's something that I have really appreciated and am so excited to be able to share with you all, and I really hope that you would like to listen to it and that it's something that I'm really proud of and that I think has shown me what it means to be a TGS student, in that I'm exploring the things that I love and that make me connect with the world, and also have evolved into what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. After this year, I'm going to be going on to get a degree in gender studies, and it's something that I'm going to continue exploring and developing throughout my life. And kind of to end this presentation, I want to leave you with a question that is the question I start all of my interviews with, which is, what does gender mean to you? When you think of the word gender, when you think of this concept, what does it mean to you? What kinds of ideas come to mind? What things? Is it the way that you understand yourself? Is it the relationships you have with other people? Is it the way you express yourself? What does gender mean to you, and what does it mean for your relationships? How has that evolved over time? What does gender mean to you? So I would really appreciate it if you would listen to this podcast, if you would like to be interviewed. This QR code will take you to a website where you can sign up to be interviewed, you can listen to the podcast, and thank you.